Oh, yeah.
What happened to your sheriff?
There's powerful niggardry at work here.
These blacks.
Well, let's jump right into it. Hit that like button for me, guys. Appreciate y'all coming out. Just got some thoughts on my mind. Post-Oscar thoughts. Not that I watch the Oscars, I would never, but I do hear, because I keep my ear to the street and all that. I do hear that Michael B. Jordan came away with a Best Actor, I believe, for his role in the movie Sinners. And it's a little bit controversial even in that, because at least half the internet, maybe even most of the internet, let me put it that way, almost everybody outside of the black part of the internet thinks Sinners wasn't really that great of a movie. They don't all call it trash, but outside of the black internet, people are basically calling it mid. And I think that's a bit interesting. And on top of that, I've been thinking a little bit about black movies, because there is definitely a phenomenon I'm picking up on with black movies. And I kind of want to say it peaked during and slightly after the George Floyd era, but this actually predates George Floyd. It's just a staple of black filmmaking, technically. And I don't know if it's something that we can ever truly escape. Part of it is just, historical, and the other part of it is Hollywood itself kind of thrives on this type of thing. And all at the same time, I think it does serve to like stroke a particular strain of the black ego. This feeling of being both a historic hero and a historic victim all at the same time. I think Hollywood has done a great job in kind of stoking the flames of that sort of thing. And I want to talk a little bit about that in a lot of different movies. I'm going to weave together some threads today. So I appreciate y'all pulling up for a show tonight. Hit that like button as we make our as we get this thing started. Forgive me, I'm a little tongue-tied. I think I should have ate before I done this, but we shall persevere.
As a Black person from the United States who occasionally goes abroad, I notice that a lot of us have what I like to call the American ego. Now, I'm not saying that this is inherently a good or bad thing, but I am saying that when a situation comes up, a disrespectful situation, usually having something to do with racism, our reactions tend to kind of give away where we're from. Not just our voice, but like how we're physically reacting to the situation. It's interesting because in so many ways we have the ego of the United States, but in the United States we don't have the privilege to back it up, which is why so many of us are incarcerated. Like the government loves that we have this ego about us because it gives them another excuse to lock us up, even though everybody's kind of displaying this form of ego in the United States. Anyway, let me give you an example. I'm at a hotel in Lima, Peru. In the elevator, there is a Peruvian couple to my side, and there are 3 Canadians that get in. And I know they're Canadians because they're very loudly bragging about being from Montreal to the front desk workers. So I know they're Canadian when we get on the elevator. And I assume this dumbass bitch was about the mind that I didn't know English. So she turns around and like to her friends, she's like looking dead at me as she says this. So that's why I'm like, she probably doesn't think I know English, but she goes, I wonder if she's like an N-word from Jamaica or like an N-word from America or like an N-word from, and I don't know what she was going to say next, because by the time she gets to that third N-word, my hand is just moving. It's just moving. It allegedly my hand is moving. And then she's fallen against the elevator door and she's holding her face and she's looking so fucking confused. And the other white girl next to her is looking confused, and the white guy behind the second girl goes American. And for a second I think about responding to him, but then she's like getting up again. She's getting up off the door and she's headed toward, she's like angled toward me. And I don't want that. So she ends up back against the door. Don't know how. And then it's their turn to get off the elevator. So they get off the elevator and she just kind of follows them. And it just left me thinking, like, that was a really American response.
Now, one of the things I've really picked up on in the difference between the native Black American versus Black people born from pretty much anywhere else around the world is a very particular racial sensitivity. Only Black Americans really carry this thin skinned racial sensitivity around the globe effectively. I was reading something, I think it was something going viral on Twitter, maybe. Everybody's going to call it Twitter till the end of time. Elon might as well just change it back. But I was reading something about that recently, and I think there was somebody made a post more or less saying how it's crazy how Black Americans try to compare their modern day oppression to like a Guatemalan farmer or something like that. Like there's all basically to say that they have no proper understanding of the world and their place in it, and how truly blessed you are to be even Black in America in 2026. And I would go a lot farther to say that you would have rather been Black in America during Jim Crow than be Black in Africa during Jim Crow. I guarantee you at any time during your alleged Black American racism struggle, you would have never traded that to be an African in Africa at that time. You wouldn't even want to be an African priest or a chief or whatever they had. Did they have kings back then? I don't know. Did the white man let them still have kings? I don't know. But you would not want to be African royalty in 1900 compared to like a Black man in Virginia in 1900. I guarantee you were doing better off by and large as just a regular nigga from Virginia in 1900. But people don't really have that appreciation of the wideness of human experience and how really in the grand scheme of things, your modern Black suffering isn't the grandest suffering that there ever was, right? And I argue that Hollywood itself has done a lot to hype up that particular attitude and to stoke that kind of grievance. And I think it's a very painful realization too, on the one hand, because I think that Hollywood really understands how to play on the emotionality of people who don't think that deeply about most things or very many particular things.
How deep is the Red Sea? So basically 10,000. What am I trying to say, Zeke? How comparison, how what am I trying to say? Like, how can we not compare, how do we determine 10,000 feet into a human brain?
Wait, what?
I'm trying to figure out. See, you know what I'm trying to say, bro? Like,
hold on. See, I didn't watch this video and I'm still confused, but let's try this one more time.
How deep is the Red Sea? So basically 10,000. What am I trying to say, Zeke? What am I trying to say? Like, how can we not compare, how do we determine 10,000 feet into a human brain?
Wait, what?
I'm trying to figure out. See, you know what I'm trying to say, bro? Like, how do we determine 10,000 feet into my mind? What, bro?
What?
Hold on.
Into your mind.
Hold on. How deep is the Red Sea?
The reason why I'm playing this sort of non sequitur type of clip, it occurs to me at the same time that these two guys would walk into any Hollywood movie about black man good, white man bad, always been this way, and they'll walk out of that movie and feel as though that is their reality, their world. They will self-identify through the sheer magnetic pull of melanin. They will transpose themselves onto the character in the movie and feel all of the theoretical Hollywood racial oppression that they just spent the last 48, 75 minutes watching. And that is the power of Hollywood, actually. Not everybody is a deep thinker. And not everybody is going to stop and even question whether or not what they're watching is just a bunch of bull. And I realized that even me growing up, watching all the black content, being black in school during Black History Month, I was basically lined up for that same deal too. Somehow or another, I just got out of it. I don't even know how I started to question all this blackity black bullshit, but here I am. And not everybody sees it that way. And so I realized that we've all been watching. I remember actually being young. One of the earliest movies I remember going to, and it was actually my stepdad and I think my mom and myself, we all went to Mississippi Burning. And it was starring Gene Hackman, great actor, rest in peace. And he went to the South he went to Mississippi to investigate the killings of a couple of freedom riders, as they were calling it back then. And see, that was, years and years ago, well before the internet. Now that we're all on the internet and we're watching TikToks about history and everybody's woke about wokeness, I realized there was a whole subtext to that movie that I just could not have picked up on being a young, impressionable viewer, right? And that's the whole point of it. You're not supposed to understand that you're not being fed history. You're being fed a behavior set. You're being fed a way of being. You're being fed the rules of your own blackness through the lens of Hollywood filmmaking. And this is why somebody like Michael B. Jordan in the movie Sinners is such a, it's being so rewarded by Hollywood on the one hand, and it's so loved by the black audience who it's directly aimed at on the other hand. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not the most original. It's not the most well acted. It's probably not even the most well produced film there is this year. But because it's all a part of a thing, it has to kind of be rewarded, because that's the nature of the thing, right? You have to reward the thing in order to keep the thing going.
Where y'all from?
North Carolina.
Y'all Klan?
Sir, we believe in equality and music. We just came here to play, spend some money, have a good time.
Nah, I believe you. But this here a juke joint.
We got money and we ready to spend it with y'all.
No, I'm saying you get down that road, you get back into town. Plenty of white barrel houses down there.
All right. How'd she get in?
And that is she here, because she family.
Just all be family? You don't need to do that, sir. We'll be on our way. But we're gonna walk real slow, just in case y'all change your mind.
Y'all have a nice night. Where y'all from?
North Carolina.
Y'all.
Now, at the risk of spoilers, the movie Sinners is basically a vampire movie. And from what I hear, the internet is basically saying that it's a very, very loose adaptation of Dusk Till Dawn, which is a cult classic from Quentin Tarantino. And, it's basically two crime bros. They're locked in a place, some random place or whatever. They're locked in. They got to survive the night, and the vampires are attacking, right? It's basically Dusk Till Dawn. But in this movie, the vampires aren't just vampires. They're not just a deep ancient evil that is somehow, stirring in this little random corner of the world. The deep ancient evil, because this is a black movie and these are black people, the deep ancient evil in this movie is actually white people. And that's the deep Hollywood symbolism that everybody's all, drawn to right now. And I just think I'm kind of over the whole thing.
my own family heritage and lineage a little bit. My dad's side of the family is from Shreveport, Louisiana. My mom's side of the family is from Hope, Arkansas. So having a family history and lineage from the South is something that was always there. I guess realizing and contextualizing a bit that the movie that we were making somehow is basically my grandparents' story also. Realizing like you only really realize your grandmother and your grandfather, you only know them as older people. But you forget they're like they were 25 too, having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, your grandmother and grandfather were 25 years old fighting white vampires deep in the deep South, right? That's your grandmother and your grandfather's story. They were young Negroes in America too. They had to fight off white vampires at one point too. And so you could have just made a racism story. You could have just made a story about black people in 1905 or whatever in some little small town in the middle of somewhere nobody knows about. And they could have had a whole little racial war and it could have just been that. But you had to make it a vampire movie, which makes it really weird. Are vampires racist? Of all the vampire lore I've consumed in my life, I've never heard of vampires being racist. When Blade was out there killing vampires, Blade wasn't killing vampires because they were white. What was that guy's name? What was it, Stephen Dorn or whatever? The vampire king in Blade wasn't like some evil white guy as a representation of the evil of whiteness. He was just a vampire, represented a whole race of vampires. Apparently there was like ethnic diversity in vampires or whatever, but now you're making a racial vampire movie and it's like you're perverting vampire lore even. Vampires are looking at you like, why are these niggas talking about me like this? I would never. But what is it? Why do vampires have to have a racial narrative to it? Because it's a black movie. Because it's black, because they're black, and everybody's blackity black. It's a black movie. And here's the overall problem with black movies, air quotes around black, right? Here's the overall problem. Black movies, I don't really think grapple with the deep existential or even the deeply philosophical, right? By and large, most black movies, and again, air quotes on black, because there are a bunch of movies with black people in it that I wouldn't even touch this conversation with, but most, quote, black movies, they live by one major trope. There are a couple of other tropes that, spin off too. There's feminism, or there's the black man's always you're always the bad guy in your own story, or, something like that. But generally speaking, the white man is always the evil bad guy. He's always the big bad in pretty much every black movie. And this is a relatively inescapable thing. Like the white man is always the big bad in every black movie. And the problem with that is that because it's always, white man bad, there is no real backstory to anything. It's always, oh, evil white people. I already know what's up. I already know what's this going to be like, right? And because the story is almost half written with the evil white man bad trope, you don't actually have what I was talking about a couple of streams ago with this idea of a proper heroic arc, the hero's journey. Black movies, by and large, don't really do the hero's journey as I understand it. Not every single movie falls into this trap, but again, it's a trope that I'm noticing, and it's relatively inescapable. And the problem is, the hero's journey is what makes good films great. It's what makes bad writing better.
And that's the hero myth in a nutshell, by the way. The hero is the person who confronts horrible, chaotic potential and tames it and makes something of it. That's the fundamental human story. But the problem is that you have to face what you don't want to face in order to fix it. So you look at all the things about yourself that need to be burned off, that need to be dispensed with. Man, especially at the beginning, especially if you're screwed up, that may be like 95% of you just has to go up in flames. And it's painful. Even some of that stuff that you have to burn off doesn't want to die. And it'll scream in agony while you're burning it off. It's not pleasant. But if you know that you're the thing that can transcend your problems, most fundamentally, if you know you're the thing that, if it faces the problems, can transcend them, then you have the faith that would enable you to take stock of who you are.
And Shaka, what's going on, bro? He says, what about in every white movie when the white man is bad? One, that is not quite how white movies play out. It's not really centered on a racial identity crisis or a class of racial identities in that way. There have been a lot of movies where, when we were growing up, it was Chuck Norris versus terrorism, right? It was Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Russians or something like that. So it wasn't always just, white man bad. There tends to be like ideological clashes that are really undergirding a lot of the conflict. There are civilizational clashes, like with, fighting terrorists on the plane or something like that. Fighting the Cubans when Chuck Norris had to save America. What was that? What was that Chuck Norris movie when the Cubans invaded America and Chuck Norris was like a one-man commando force? He had to save America from like the whole island of Cuba. Rambo, again, another white man versus the non-white world, right? And even that was a little bit of a philosophical thing. There was a lot of philosophical, Rambo itself, the original Rambo, was actually like deeply philosophical and introspective, honestly. It was about war, trauma, how do we feel about our soldiers and all that. It wasn't purely just white man bad. And even then, you realize in Rambo, both of those guys were veterans, right? Brian Dennehy was a military veteran, very much as Rambo was a military veteran. And so on the one hand, it was like the clash of like orderly civilization versus like this wild outsider. There was a lot of philosophical depth to Rambo. This is why it's such a loved movie. But when you said that it's basically white man bad and white people movies, it's not really. I think in the woker era, it might have become something like that. But classically, it hasn't really been like that. It hasn't been woke the way we've gotten in the last 10, 15, 20 years.
And that's the hero myth in a nutshell, by the way. The hero is the person who confronts horrible, chaotic potential and tames it and makes something of it. That's the fundamental human story. But the problem is that you have to face what you don't want to face in order to fix it. So you look at all the things about yourself that need to be burned off, that need to be dispensed with. Man, especially at the beginning, especially if you're screwed up, that may be like 95% of you just has to go up in flames. And it's painful. Even some of that stuff that you have to burn off doesn't want to die. And it'll scream in agony while you're burning it off. It's not pleasant. But if you know that you're the thing that can transcend your problems, most fundamentally, if you know you're the thing that, if it faces the problems, can transcend them, then you have the faith that would enable you to take stock of who you are.
And I wonder if Hollywood, by Hollywood's refusal to allow that kind of process in film, especially from like a Black perspective even, that refusal to allow for the heroic myth, the burning away of the thing that doesn't work, the growth into something that actually does work, becoming something more than what you started with. I think being locked into this constant racial paradigm is Hollywood's way of locking its Black audience, or Black America broadly speaking, into that very same racial paradigm. Which is why I raised the question tonight, are Black movies too woke? It's always the same.
All right, Pop.
Two years assault and battery. For stopping my neighbor from getting whipped on by her drunk husband.
Cuzzo!
You put that man in a coma.
I just found this movie trailer today. You know, the ideas were just kind of coming to me as I was watching some of the Oscar footage, and I'm thinking about not just Sinners, but there was another movie that got a lot of awards. One Battle After Another. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. But Hollywood is constantly locking you into racial tropes over and over again, where the average Black character at this point is probably, you know, a racial warrior of some sort. And this is just another movie produced by, I think, RZA, that kind of explores that racial warrior revenge fantasy thing. And that's a great by the way, Red. It's revenge fantasies versus heroic journeys, right? There is no objective heroism for the most part. It's almost always reflexive revenge fantasy.
It's a bully.
What do we have here? What's the fucking rules around here, Jonesy?
You tell us, what's the rules around here?
God instructs us
And shout out to RZA, we got a kung fu nigga.
to prepare.
If you want to live, I suggest you leave this town immediately.
Still in the field.
I can stand here and fight for what's mine.
Like that.
Liberation is one of the commandments of God.
Be your money.
He who has prepared to enter the kingdom shall enter the kingdom.
This system is a giant.
David slew a giant with a goddamn slingshot.
Your tech.
Oh, snap. Biblical references, David versus Goliath. This is the Black man's, quote, hero journey, is I am constantly on the attack. I mean, I'm constantly being attacked by white supremacy. All my life, I had to fight ass nigga. And like 80% of Black movies that get put out and released to the viewing audience, we're almost always in this one trope over and over again. We can never escape it.
System is a giant.
David slew a giant with a goddamn slingshot.
Your technique is second to none. That was a magnificent display of the Mandingo style.
That was a magnificent display of the Mandingo style. Damn it, that is a bar. That's a drop. The Mandingo style. Are you listening to this shit?
Is second to none. That was a magnificent display of the Mandingo style.
We got a whole negrified kung fu system. We have a Black combat system, and they say there is no martial arts coming out of Africa. I was told Africa has not produced its own indigenous martial artist system. No, Mandingo style, nigga. Dick Fu.
He who seeketh shall find. He who knocketh, it shall be opened.
One spoon of chocolate. One spoon of chocolate sounds like an interesting movie title, by the way. One spoon of chocolate sounds like it should be a love story between two overweight, dark-skinned people. All right, it should have been like Patrice O'Neal and Angie Stone back in the day. That would have been a movie. One spoonful of chocolate. That could have been their shot. But Hollywood, like I said, they love to trap people in that Black trope of, you know, it was bad enough when, you know, it was like when I was growing up, you had the gangsters and the players and the pimps and whatnot. And then Will Smith came along and he saved the world from aliens, and that was really cool. And I stand by this. Will Smith, he's basically the only Black person in all of like Hollywood media, and especially major films, right? He's the only Black person in any major film to save the world, really. It was Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum up in that one plane, right? And in Independence Day. And I was talking about this a while back. It just occurred to me. I was doing a whole rant about this at one point. As far as like Black media goes, as far as like major Black Hollywood films go, niggas don't care about saving the world. Niggas have never saved the world. Niggas have killed 1 million white people. Niggas have gotten revenge for racism like 150 times since I've been alive. But niggas have only saved the world maybe once or twice, and both the times are Will Smith, y'all. Both times are Will Smith. He saved the world from aliens, and the nigga saved the world from zombies. I don't know what other nigga's gonna save the world after Will Smith is done. Will Smith is probably gonna come back out with one more career-saving, save the world movie before it's too late. Will Smith is the only black man in Hollywood who ever wants to really save the world. Other than that, you niggas be fighting the white man. White man out here trying to build spaceships in the next galaxy. You niggas can't even be bothered to save the damn world. And then we got the other Hollywood winner the other night. This movie has one infamous clip that we just have to talk about.
Your nose is in the carpet. My name is Jungle Pussy. This is what power looks like. See my face? This some set it off shit. I don't want you. I just want your money.
I think this one clip set black women back about 15 years. That one clip alone has set the cause and the image of black women back about at least 15 years. That's 15 years you girls can never have back. Hey, shout out to my man Dick Thug with that 5-ball. He says, I'm about to make a claim. Now hear me out. What if black men constantly seeing white men dominating them is what's causing early stages of homosexuality in them? No, I think the gay is coming from somewhere totally different, bro. I think the gay is coming from inside the house, bro.
Get what they come to church doing? Being gay.
I'm pretty sure the gay is coming from inside the house, though. Hollywood is definitely not helping. Don't get me wrong. Hollywood has some burden to bear in that regard, too. But as far as the gays is concerned, the call is coming from inside the house, man. But shout out to Dick Thug, y'all. Hit that like button.
Give me the money. Give me the money for I was cute. Give me the money.
This is what power looks like. See my face? This some set it off shit. I don't want you. I just want your money. Your money pays for my artillery, my supplies, my transportation, my dynamite, my message. I am what black power looks like. See my face? See my face? I'm the Prince 75.
She is what black power looks like. And this is the movie that Hollywood is in love with, even more than Sinners, technically. I mean, you could argue they gave Michael B. Jordan, like, they gave that nigga a DEI Oscar. I'm just keeping it a buck. That was a DEI Oscar. Technically, Sinners is like it's a B action movie at best. This movie was more like an artsy type of message movie, which is really where Hollywood will give you an Oscar for. And this movie was some shit. Let me get to the trailer. There's something in the trailer I want you to see here. This is what Hollywood wants to do with the black image, black women in particular, right?
Rise and shine.
Got an eyelash.
Good morning.
This is Tiana Taylor. This is Tiana Taylor. She like 11 and a half months pregnant, busting off this big ass. That's not even an AK. That's like an M60. That is a squad automatic weapon. That is heavy artillery. That is heli artillery also. That is heli artillery right there. And she's 11 and a half months pregnant with a white man's baby. Can't be good for the child. Where is the ammo box on that thing? Look at where the ammo is. The magazine is literally bouncing off of her pregnant belly. The baby not dead. The baby not deaf. The baby dead. All right? The baby dead. You fire a heavy machine gun like that, and you got it constantly bouncing off of your baby's belly. The baby gone. I'm sorry. That baby gonna come out liquid. Ain't no way in hell that baby living through your training, your weapons training. Look at this mess.
75.
Come on, look at the baby's belly. Let me run this in slow motion. We gotta slow-mo this bad boy here, because I don't think you understand the level of trauma that we are putting black babies through for the sake of Hollywood art. I hope that wasn't a real baby in there. How many times did that gun smack her pregnant belly? Look at this shit. Let's run it even slower. Let's make it even slower, y'all. This is incredible. She killing her baby to fight the white man's oppressive system. That is child abuse to fight the white man's oppression, y'all. That baby needs white parents. That's what that baby needs, 2 white parents that love him. Because this is terrible. This is terrible. I can't believe y'all showed a black woman doing that. You are damaging your baby's future to fight the white man's oppression.
How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the black community?
Felt like Tony Montana.
Felt like Tony Montana, huh? She is pregnant with a 2nd grader. Look at this shit, y'all. Look at this.
Bitch, I felt like Tony Montana.
That baby gonna come out eating Lunchables, drinking juice boxes, y'all. With brain damage, though. And this is Black Hollywood. Well, this is Hollywood in general. Honestly, look, this is white Hollywood depicting Keisha, right? This is white Hollywood showing us Keisha. And then in center is basically Black Hollywood fighting racist vampires. I still don't understand why vampires would be racist or whatever, but that's how it is. And then I realized, like, if Hollywood puts out 5 black movies in a year, at least 3 of them have some type of overblown racial trope.
The opening, reading this man?
So only in the case where we cannot locate the soldier, sir.
Are you kidding me? Y'all opening and reading the letters of these white soldiers?
Well, sir, sometimes that is the only way to get the clues to find out where they might be.
They had these black women reading the white man's mail, y'all. Can you believe it? Can you believe they let a black woman read the white man's mail? This shameful behavior.
This is private, Major. Have you lost what's little left of your mind? Tried to go over my head. Get soldiers buried that you ain't killed. You got them killed because you did not train them well. So now, President Roosevelt has died. This little experiment gonna be shut down immediately. I think I'm gonna have you relieved of your duties.
And this racist white man was gonna lose y'all the war because he wouldn't allow black women to read the white man's mail. We could have lost. Listen, we would all be speaking German right now because that white man didn't want black women to read white soldiers' letters, y'all. We would be speaking German right now. Sprachen Sie Deutsch? Do you guys remember when a black woman almost single-handedly ended slavery in America? Her name was Harriet.
Not much time. You got to be miles away from here for dawn. Where is she? Follow that North Star. If there are no stars, just follow the river. Listen for them. Fear is your enemy. Whoa, easy now.
I'm gonna be free or die.
I don't know if you know how extraordinary this is, but you have made it 100 miles to freedom.
You know, I've been in the habit of questioning Black history, and part of me wonders how much of Harriet Tubman is just mythology. I wonder if you got somebody in there to actually dig through the historical records and figure out the real facts of Harriet Tubman. I wonder if everything is the way they say it is, or if this was just like some OG feminist racist mythology cooked up by Marxism back in the day. What if Harriet Tubman wasn't real? What if Harriet Tubman was just like liberal propaganda that we couldn't even catch on because it was like 100 years ago? They got this one in there before we even realized what was happening.
All by yourself. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Harriet Tubman.
You are welcome here anytime. If I'm free, my family should be too. I made up my mind, I'm going back.
You know what's so funny about that? Years ago, you know how like in New York City, they would have booksellers like setting up a table and they'd be selling like all these Black books or whatever. Like you'll never see like an Agatha Christie novel. It's always some type of Black literature. And I remember I picked up this one book, and it was actually a really interesting book though. And it was called Love Stories from the Underground Railroad. And to a man, I mean, literally to a man, it was all stories of men who had escaped slavery. They landed up north somewhere or other, and they were like, you know what? I just can't. I got to go back and get my people. And they went back to get their wife, their children, their women, or whatever. They went back to get their families. And again, everyone was a man. But Hollywood gives you this movie where it's a Black woman who had to go back and get her family because she was just gangster like that. She was about it.
You are welcome here anytime. If I'm free, my family should be too. I made up my mind, I'm going back. You're confident, composed. When trouble comes, you'll be ready.
Papers. It says here you're 5.5 feet tall. You ain't more than 5 feet.
Look at her. She's a gangster little bitch. You ain't need more than 5 feet. A 5-foot gangster Black woman, y'all. Do you believe it? Do you believe? You gotta ask yourself if you really believe.
Must have won my high boots that day.
Why you back here? It ain't safe.
I come to get you.
And she rescued her man. She went there. She went and saved her Jermaine. She went back to save Jermaine, y'all. You know she can't do it without her Jermaine.
I'm done. I'm done with life, and it's all Jermaine's fault. It's always Jermaine's fault.
Why you back here? It ain't safe.
I come to get you. Bring all of you to freedom.
Do you know what would happen if you got caught? You got lucky, Harriet.
I made it this far on my own, so don't you tell me what I can't do.
Strong Black woman. Strong Black woman. I mean, at this point, do you trust anything from Hollywood, especially when it comes to like so-called history?
For the promised land, I'm gonna
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
Everybody, everywhere is looking for you.
God don't mean people to own people.
And don't forget that moral authority almost always comes from a black woman, all right? Even Hollywood knows this. Hollywood is probably who actually taught us this.
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the black woman is God, and
Black woman is God.
I say the black woman is God.
The black woman is God because, you know, she was the first organism on this planet.
And how could we forget about the woman king? I didn't even know women could be kings. I thought king was a gender-specific title.
An evil is coming that threatens our kingdom, our freedom.
Now, this movie was a double whammy because on the one hand, the Dahomey did have a very vicious, savage group of female warriors. As far as I understand, that bit of history is relatively true.
But we have a weapon. They are not prepared for.
Now, the problem with the woman king and the female warriors is that they did all their female warrying, their female warrioring when they were hunting other black people for slavery. They were some of the most vicious slavers out there on the continent, right? And so while it is true that Africa managed to create a bunch of rabid warrior women who was literally enslaving niggas, this is why I don't glaze Africa, because before the white man enslaved you, you got enslaved by your bitch, bro. Your bitches was enslaving you niggas. Nobody ever wants to look at the woman king and just marvel on the fact that before the white man enslaved the black man, the black woman was out here with sharp machetes. There wasn't even real swords. They was just pounded steel, sharpened into a blade, and they were enslaving you bitch ass niggas. But you let them tell it was the white man who did it though. That's really what's going on. You let them tell it was the white man who did it. Nope. The woman king was a tribe of slaving female African warriors, and they enslaved their other tribes of Africans, all right? That's what the woman king, that's who the Dahomey were. A bunch of bitches enslaving men, women and children.
My king, the Europeans wish to conquer us. They will not stop until the whole of Africa is theirs. We must fight back for our people.
Not only were you out there enslaving all these black people, you lied on the white man. You made us all think that it was the white man out there just running around putting niggas in shackles and shit. Nope. Keisha did it, y'all. Keisha was out there putting niggas in shackles and shit, marching niggas up to the boat.
We are absolutely winning right now. Absolutely. We have done more than change the conversation. We changed the balance of power in the federal government.
And you know, it's funny you say that. Red Illusion says, at least the Europeans gave a nigga a chance. I always say that. What were the Africans doing with their thousands and thousands of black slaves? Like all the slaves that they didn't sell to the white man, what did you think they were doing? They can't all work in the chief's hut, right? How many butlers do you need for a hut? It's not like you got a 15-room mansion with plumbing and shit, ovens and stables and all these little industry things that have to be tended to. How much labor do you really need when you sleep in a hut? You lay on a loincloth at night. You sleep on like a bed of gorilla skins at night. And you live in a hut. Like, how much domestic labor do you niggas need? Because they didn't have sugar plantations. They didn't have tobacco farms. Them niggas wasn't growing anything, right? So what do they do with all the rest of their slaves? I'm just saying. I think they ate a lot of them.
Aneska, you're asking me to take them to war.
Some things are worth fighting for.
Don't know, take my power. Don't know, take my power.
You are called to join the King's Guard.
Take my power.
No,
She was in the King's Guard, like Game of Thrones.
you are called to join the King's Guard. No kingdom in all of Africa shares this privilege. Train hard, fight harder. They fear no one.
And this is also Hollywood playing up the masculine reputation of black women, right? This is also, again, feeding into the ego of black women, you know? They deserve to be in charge. They deserve to be running things. They have king in their blood. Black women come from a long line of kings, apparently.
How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the Black community?
I know you confused.
Now, this one is a little bit more whimsical. It fills a lot of the same racial tropes, but they're just a lot cuter about it. But it's still the same shit.
Their discomfort, Aaron. Watching you walk through a room full of white people was the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I don't want to take you to a job in
Walking through what?
Discomfort, Aaron. Watching you walk through a room full of white people was the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Now, this is Hollywood playing up something else. This is a lot more of a modern thing, but it's as if white people are so completely alien to the black experience, whatever that really means, that you can't even be your own. You can't be comfortable in your own skin as a black person. Which the irony of that is this guy that they're making the main character is literally half white. You'd think he'd be halfway there at least. I mean, come on. How are you uncomfortable in a room full of at least half of your people?
Comfort, Aaron. Watching you walk through a room full of white people was the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I don't want to take you to a job interview.
There's a recruiting class starting right now, and we got to get you in it.
Welcome to the American Society of Magical Negroes.
Do you guys remember when they dropped the movie and it was straight up black Harry Potter? But instead of fighting a great evil, a big bad, an existential crisis like Voldemort and Harry Potter represented classical evil. He represented an objective dark threat. There is light, there is dark. There is the force of good, there is the force of nature. But in the black version of Harry Potter, there are magical wizards and then there are white people. And your job as a magical wizard, and you literally have like reality bending powers, your job is to keep white people happy. Because even as a magical nigga, the thing that you fear most with all of your power and that big black magic wand, the thing that makes you most afraid is white people getting a little unhappy and losing their shit. That's what this whole movie is about. The American Society of Magical Negroes, they always come together. They only come together to stop white people from having a bad day.
of magical Negroes.
I don't really understand.
It's easier said. What's the most dangerous animal on the planet?
Shark.
White people, when they feel uncomfortable. White people feeling uncomfortable precedes a lot of bad stuff for us.
Niggas fear white people more than they fear sharks, okay? Now, seeing as I spend most of my time on land as opposed to like under the sea, I fear bears more than white people. I fear pit bulls more than white people. You know what I've seen? I saw a dead eagle on the side of the road one day, and it was huge. An eagle is huge. I fear an American bald eagle. I fear birds more than I fear white people. But apparently, in the Hollywood Negro mind, white people are more dangerous than sharks when they get uncomfortable.
When they feel uncomfortable. White people feeling uncomfortable precedes a lot of bad stuff for us. That's why we fight white discomfort every day. Because the happier they are, the safer we are.
The name needs a little updating, maybe like magical black people, or I guess that doesn't have the same ring.
Magical black people. I can't believe niggas in Hollywood came together and they thought this was a great concept. Like, and this is how Black Hollywood sees itself, right? Like, you have to constantly bend and contort your ways. You have to constantly bend and contort yourself in ways that you basically attribute to something like magic, right? It's like you see yourself as a magical person who makes white people's lives better. This is what Black Hollywood thinks of themselves, right? You are magical Negroes, and your magic makes white people feel better.
You ready?
Oh, wow.
Your first client is a Jason Munn. His morale is far too low.
Hey.
Hey.
Darn it. I was hoping there was a station right next to him.
Oh, is this one spoken for?
No.
Yeah, it's actually fun and weirdly relaxing. It's like being a secret agent with none of the danger.
Hey, I'm Lizzie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
She's great.
Yeah, she's cool.
You kidding? Come on, man. She's smart and funny. And...
I know what you were doing going on about her. You're trying to set us up.
No, that's not what I was doing.
You cannot have a relationship with...
And because he's a Negro, he's got to steal a white man's girlfriend. That was the one part of this movie that really just pulled it all together for me. Because he's a nigga, he still got to steal a white man's girlfriend. It was your one job to get this white man and this white woman together. And what do? Mr. Steal Your Girl. Goddamn nigga. I can't believe they did this shit. Hollywood is atrocious. Like, of all the things, not only is he a magical Negro, he used all his magic to steal a white man's girlfriend.
These blacks. Busy now. Because if you don't put Jason first, everyone's magic will fail.
And if you don't put if he doesn't put the white man first, everyone's magic will fail. So all of your black magic is dependent upon keeping the white man happy.
I've always felt like it's my job to make white people feel comfortable, and here it literally is. But
this is a real line from a real movie made by real black people.
And here it literally is. To make white, always felt like it's my job to make white people feel comfortable. Always felt like it's my job to make white people feel comfortable. Always felt like it's my job to make white people feel comfortable, and here it literally is. But maybe it shouldn't be.
I got a great plan to ask her out, but I'm gonna need your help. Do you think you could work your magic?
Hey, is he talking about me?
Shut up and magic is crazy. That's diabolical. That's basically a plot line in the movie, though. Stop trying to steal his girlfriend. Shut up and magic, you stupid magical Negro. That's really the plot line from the movie. Shut up and magic, you stupid magical Negro.
Hey.
Oh my God. Wait, are you?
But I traveled a long way.
Someone defied the society. Who was it?
You didn't let her go like I told.
Oh, and look, another trope.
But I traveled a long way.
Someone defied the society. Who was it?
Big Mama runs it all. More black jobs. Big Mama runs it all. Even in the Society of Magical Negroes, Big Mama is in charge.
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the black woman is God, and
black woman is God.
I say the black woman is God.
The black woman is God because, you know, she was the first organism on this planet.
Hey, here's another one. Did you guys know we almost didn't make it to the moon? I know what you're thinking. We're not doing that joke. I'm just saying, did you guys know that we almost didn't make it to the moon except for the work of a handful of really smart black women? Black girl math, not magic. Black girl math got us to the moon, y'all.
Y'all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk. You're welcome to walk the 16 miles or sit in the back of the bus.
You have identification on it?
NASA, sir.
NASA? I had no idea they hired.
There are quite a few women working in the space program.
Least I can do is get.
Yeah, apparently NASA was integrated and progressive way before like the military and all that. NASA, well, not before the military, but like they had been doing that before it was really widespread in American culture.
You on an escort?
3 Negro women are chasing a white police officer down the highway in 1961. That is a God-ordained miracle.
In 14 days, astronauts will be here for training. And we're shooting a human into space, and it's never been done before.
With the launch of the Russian spy satellite, the president is demanding an immediate response. Running from the man.
Space Test Group needs a computer. Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
She is a human computer. Look at that, y'all. If it wasn't for black women, we would have never made it to the moon. The Russians would have put a flag up there before us.
This is about inventing the math, because without it, we're not going anywhere.
Yes, sir. That's John Glenn.
What do you guys do for NASA?
Calculate your launch and landing site. How could you be ogling these white men? It's equal rights. I have the right to see fine in every color.
Not Whole Math the movie. Oh, you guys are awful. Whole Math the movie. That is actually a good working title, though.
If you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
Yes.
What? Are white men born engineers?
Every color.
If you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
If you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
Do black people think white people are just born with skills and abilities and shit? Like white people are just born with their 10-hour OSHA certificate? They just know things straight out the womb. Is that what you think?
Yes, it's an uphill battle. But guess who else is playing?
I don't know if I can keep up in that room. Just make that pencil move as fast as your mind does.
You've been gone for 300 hours.
Phil.
You've been gone for 300 hours? You spent 300 hours away from your babies?
How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the Black community?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Like it to me, too. Colonel Glenn launches in a few weeks. We don't have the math figured out yet.
There's no protocol for women attending.
There's no protocol for a man circling the earth either, sir. Every time we have a chance to get ahead, they move the finish line.
Now, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but they didn't really get us to the moon. There were black women in NASA, and there were some really qualified, talented number crunchers that helped do some of the, let's just say, how do you, when there's a giant algorithm to process, they break it down into parts, and you have individual people working on their individual parts of the process or whatever. But the algorithm itself, that whole, like, as I understand it, you kind of circle the moon and almost like a figure eight. You know that famous slingshot maneuver they do in a lot of space movies? That was thought up by a white guy. They used a whole team of mathematicians to actually do the math, and there were a handful of black women on that team. But if you let the movie tell it, we would have never got to the moon had it not been for the sheer utter brilliance of black women, y'all. And then, you know, before we get out of here, I want to share something else with you guys. I was talking this over with Grok earlier, and I asked Grok about black movies that have been released in the last, well, just since the George Floyd era, which is basically the last 6 years or so. We got The Five Bloods, a Spike Lee Vietnam movie, Chadwick Boseman. I don't even think I watched The Five Bloods, but I'm almost, because it's a Spike Lee movie, I guarantee you there's some racial overtones in that movie. Judas and the Black Messiah, Fred Hampton story, clearly racial overtones. It's the revolutionary stuff. The Harder They Fall, it was a black Western. Not quite. I don't think there was a huge racial overtone in there, but there's always racist white people in a black Western. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So that was the part 2 to Black Panther. I actually like that because, you know, those wet Mexicans kicked the shit out of Wakanda. I was enjoying that. I was thoroughly enjoying watching that watery Mexican beat the shit out of Shuri. That shit, I just like, that's what you get for killing Chadwick off. Now you got to fight these Mexicans by yourself. That was a very symbolic movie, by the way. How they treated Wakanda in Black Panther 2 was incredibly symbolic. Now your man's gone, and you got to fight these Mexicans off by yourself. And you didn't even really beat the Mexicans. You actually you wound up having to team up with the Mexicans at the end. Shit crazy. Shit crazy. Hollywood know what's up. Hollywood knew what they were doing with that one. They was cooking with that one. The Woman King. Obviously, they totally perverted history with that one. Oh, Emmett Till. Oh, man, I'm not even going to tell you anything uncomfortable about Emmett Till. Apparently, it's genetic, though. I'm just going to leave it there. If you guys in the chat know why it's genetic, you can tell everybody else, but I'm going to leave it there. But apparently, it's genetic. Emmett Till. It's a damn shame what they did to that boy. But what other movies came out? Nope. From Jordan Peele. Now, I don't even really remember the plot of Nope. Was there any racial overtone in Nope? Was that the movie with the family on video? You know what? Because I didn't, only Jordan Peele movie I think I watched was what was that one? When they went to dinner and he wanted to, that was another one, by the way. What was the Jordan Peele movie? Get Out. That's another one. Get Out. Oh my God. We're going to talk about Get Out in a minute. So Nope. I don't know if Nope qualifies. This looks to be a straight up sci-fi aliens thing. So I don't think Nope had any real deep racial issues. It was aliens and horses. All right. So shout out to that one. You know, at least you didn't go ham on that one. But what else did we have here? Emancipation. Will Smith in a historical escape story. Because we're always escaping slavery. Can't keep running away. We're always on the run from slavery, y'all. Shout out to my man Jesse with the $2. Honey, how do we equivalate starring Rick Moranis? This is why I'm afraid of like Ryan Coogler taking over the X-Files. Because I feel like if Ryan Coogler takes over the X-Files, which it could be interesting if you really went creative ham with it, but it's just going to be mysterious acts of racism. Like a Negro was hanging from a tree with no branches. Like it really will be mysterious acts of racism now that Ryan Coogler is taking over the X-Files, right? No, Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele, rather, is taking over the X-Files. Forgive me, Jordan Peele. And the thing is, Jordan Peele did he did Get Out. Jordan Peele did Get Out. You guys remember the plot to Get Out? it was layers of like anti-white racist tropes and Get Out, right? It was like, not only are white people rich, snobby people, that's a level of, that's like economic racism. Then there was the whole like subplot of he had a white girlfriend, so there was like sexual racism. And then the white people, they basically wanted to like not literally eat the black people, but they effectively were consuming the black people so that they could like inhabit the bodies of black people. It was like, it was an odd cannibalistic type of thing, but it was a straight up just a physical racism. Like we admire the black body so much that we want to actually inhabit the black body. I want to become a Negro. And so it was a very strange blend. It was a potpourri of different racial themes. Get Out was a very odd movie when you think about it. Like the plot of it all, like black people are allegedly genetically superior, and rich white people, well, rich liberal white people, mind you, they just thought black people were so awesome that they wanted to actually, not owning your own Negro is out of style. We don't do that anymore. But if I could inhabit the body of a Negro, well, that's just wealth and status, you know? And so it was very, very odd for a movie, though. But what else did we have? What else came out? 2023, The Color Purple remake, Black Man Bad. They cloned Tyrone. I didn't watch They Clone Tyrone. I actually should watch that. I've been meaning to catch that one, actually. I might watch that one day. I just need to see what it's about. I don't think there was a lot of like racial overtones in They Clone Tyrone, but I could be wrong. What if the white man is out here cloning niggas and there's a secret plot to replace niggas with new pseudo niggas? I don't know. It could be. It could be. Shout out to Dick Dug with the $10. I remember in first grade, we had to guess how many marbles were in the jar. The teacher gave the answer to the special kid. He won. We knew how and why as kids. I don't think they see the connection. Are you trying to say Black Hollywood is like the special kids in Hollywood? Dick Dug, are you saying that Black Hollywood are effectively the special kids of Hollywood? That's crazy, y'all. Smash that super chat button for me.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! You make Hulk angry. You not like Hulk angry. Hulk no like fighting girls.
So what else we have? All right, They Clone Tyrone. Rye Lane, a romantic comedy set in South London. I've never heard of Rye Lane. A 2023 film. Oh, these British niggas. British black folk don't really do woke the same way, so that wouldn't even pop up really. Most British films don't really tackle racism in that way that Black American films are just straight up woke. Then we have American Fiction. I really liked American Fiction. It was one film where they actually made a joke of how Hollywood plays into racial tropes. I really loved American Fiction. Let me pull that up for you guys, because American Fiction, again, one of my favorite movies as far as like black movies go. I really enjoy how they treated the very concept of blackness in the movie. They made the trope a trope itself. Like it was really well done. And I'm mad that a movie like American. Why does this thing keep muting me? I'm mad that a movie like American Fiction doesn't get the kind of love that Michael B. Jordan gets for Sinners or whatever. But they really did make this like introspective. and it was pondering blackness in the age of like white liberalism.
How did you come to write this book?
What really struck me was that too few books were about my people. Where are our stories? Where's our representation?
Would you give us the pleasure of reading an excerpt?
Yo, Sharonda, girl, you be pregnant again? If I is, Ray Ray's gonna be a real father this time around. Thank
you. Monk, your books are good, but they're not popular. Editors, they want a black book.
They have a black book. I'm black, and it's my book.
You know what I mean.
Look at what they published. Look at what they expect us to write. I just want to rub their noses in it.
I'd be standing outside in the night.
Deadbeat dads, rappers, crack. You said you wanted black stuff. That's black, right?
And he gave him the blackest book he could conceive of as a joke, as a trope, and it took off. It hit. And that's what the movie was really about. On the one hand, there was a whole subplot of his personal family life and drama, but the professional side of the movie, his career as a writer hinged around him not being able to sell his work because he's a black author who writes about things. He writes stories about people. He wasn't writing a blackety black book for blackety black people. He wasn't telling a nigga story. He just likes to write about things. But they'll never accept you as a black man who just writes about things. You have to be a nigga, a literary nigga.
I see what you're doing. We sold your book.
No.
We believe Mr. Lee has written a bestseller.
It's a joke. The most lucrative joke you've ever told.
Now, is Stagg a pseudonym?
Yeah. Mr. Lee can't use his real name.
Is this based on your actual life?
Yeah, you think some bitch-ass college boy can come up with that shit?
No, I don't.
And I love how the movie, and this is probably why it didn't really do that well in Hollywood, because the movie itself is poking fun at Hollywood and all of its like its racial obsession. Like Hollywood is racially obsessed to the point where they have become racist. They have become the racist that they say they hate, the racist that they constantly try to brainwash and program us against, right? And so I love this movie for that fact that it actually plays on the fact that liberal Hollywood is in the modern day more effectually and effectively, like their racism is more effective, it's more widespread, and it's more damaging than the racism that they accuse the alleged racist white man of, right? This is a level of racial control and manipulation that the slave master could only dream of. This is a whole other type of thing where you've outdone yourself and the amount of racism that you put out. And I don't think Hollywood could ever look at itself so clearly as the movie tried to put out in American Fiction. But like I said, this is probably my favorite movie in terms of, quote, black movies. And I think Hollywood kind of deserves all of the trouble that it gets. I know the movie industry is going through a lot of remakes right now, a lot of reshuffling rather right now. Things just aren't really good. I think Hollywood needs to come down a peg. I think in a lot of ways, Hollywood has to stop preaching to the American audience about its alleged moral superiority. Stop trying to subvert morality with different tropes and storylines, making bad guys the tragic figure, constantly giving us moral ambiguity in place of absolute darkness and absolute light as polar opposites in a narrative. This is why a movie like Lord of the Rings is 25 years old. And Lord of the Rings, Tolkien himself, he writes sort of Christianized themes into the movie. into the story rather. And it's a very, very compelling tale between two obvious stark polar opposites, between good and evil, light and dark. There is no anti-hero for the most part. The closest you come to an anti-hero is basically Aragorn, who's really more of a brooding figure. He's not an anti-hero at all, but that's almost how he's introduced, as like this mysterious stranger guy. But movies like that are timeless for that reason, because they embrace the idea of struggle and growth and sacrifice, and they embrace the heroic journey. One more time for the road, y'all.
And that's the hero myth in a nutshell, by the way. The hero is the person who confronts horrible, chaotic potential and tames it and makes something of it. That's the fundamental human story. But the problem is that you have to face what you don't want to face in order to fix it. So you look at all the things about yourself that need to be burned off, that need to be dispensed with. Man, especially at the beginning, especially if you're screwed up, that may be like 95% of you just has to go up in flames. And it's painful. Even some of that stuff that you have to burn off doesn't want to die. And it'll scream in agony while you're burning it off. It's not pleasant, but if you know that you're the thing that can transcend your problems, most fundamentally, if you know you're the thing that, if it faces the problems, can transcend them, then you have the faith that would enable you to take stock of who you are.
Nigga, please. Serious.
These blacks. Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.